Why, in many cases, women's hints in communication can suck? I was asked this question, and well, someone was interested specifically in my standpoint. Well, to put it in a nutshell, my point of view on this is that we live in a society, in a world where communication is more and more critical, and you are kind of expected to say a lot of things as fast as possible. In this kind of times, it doesn't matter what gender you are or you think you are. This is kind of expected out of everyone. You are expected to say good things, or in many cases, things that will cuddle other people's egos, and as fast as possible, especially in the realm of mass media, or in the realm of business, or even in video gaming. If you're gaming with your friends, right? You always need to communicate, usually in tense situations, a lot of things in a short time. In this super fast paced lifestyle, there still exists a plethora of people who think that the others have all the time in the world and nothing special to do with their lives, then try to understand the language most likely they have invented. Because when you look at women, their hints aren't necessarily gonna be the same exact. Yeah, sure, there are some typical ones, but you kind of end up feeling that you're wasting your time, that you need a psychology degree, a dictionary of human gestures to try to figure out whether that person is truly interested in you, only interested in you as kind of a challenge, or they're just, pissing their asses, laughing at you on the inside while trying to look, interesting and formal on the outside, right? And I'm not saying that women would necessarily be better communicators. Everyone can be a good communicator if you practice your skills enough. A good communicator is definitely not someone who necessarily needs hints in most of the situations. When you are in the land of politics, where you need to be discreet, yeah, that's a different world. But politics is like 1% of the human population. When you are in a realm that you just need to socialize with people, in this world where people are losing social skills at an alarming rate, people find it interesting to use even more complex ideas. It's like instead of learning an Unga Bunga language like English, you suddenly decide to learn Chinese. Sure, it is also useful when it comes to languages, but when it comes to hints, at many times they can end up as a hindrance. They can end up as a red flag, because in the end, men don't like taking hints much. Because if you want to communicate with a man, you have to preferably be straightforward. Strangely, somehow women haven't understood this in the hundreds of thousands of years of human evolution. Well, not all women, obviously, but many women. Typically, a lot of men say if you find yourself a woman who can tell you things straightforward without much hiding and such, that's definitely a keeper. Well, it's a good flag, not necessarily a keeper, but it's a good direction. It's a good aspect to take into account. The point that nowadays people have to convey a lot of things and can talk about so many freaking things. Some people simply feel too lazy to talk, and they feel that they want to do reverse control. They want to be appearing as, in need of others to solve their problems. But at the same time, they need to others so much to be controlled by them that even they need to feel passion in observing others' capability of figuring out what you want to say. It's like you're interested in someone who can be a mind reader, right? It's like if they're a mind reader, they're a keeper. Are you really that silly though? Because if I were a mind reader, would I really want to be with you, right? It would be my greatest nightmare. Because if you'd like me and I were a mind reader, I would definitely not be interested in you or any other human most likely. Because if you could read other people's minds, well, what's the point of interacting with them? You can read all their thoughts, you can read everything they think of, so they can never even surprise you with something, right? So in the end, it's like they can't be entertaining at all. At sometimes, entertainment is someone starts something and they say it in such a way, and they're usually so good at being random that you can't predict what they're gonna say. So it can be quite catchy in the end, especially with a lot of people whose minds become way too um, fast paced because of consuming a lot of social media content. You can see those people, they can't sit still. They always must think about something. They're overloaded with information. And so honestly, they always look for something new. And everything that can distract them for a few seconds can be quite entertaining for them. So in the end, in this world, hints aren't usually looked at as a good thing because while for women it can have a certain importance in the sense that it gives them a certain sense of power or it gives them a certain sense of understanding over other people, we live in a world where humans are losing social skills at an alarming rate. Back in the times, people probably would understand them. But nowadays, people are way too distracted by way too many things, and they won't even notice that you exist. Ever notice those situations when you try to hook up with someone, but they're so stuck and glued to their phone that you literally don't even exist? Well, that's a red flag already. If they're starting also with hints beyond the fact that they're not giving you enough attention, well, that's definitely enough red flags for today. So, hints, I don't classify them as something bad necessarily. Everyone needs a certain sense of, let's say, stability in a way. Some people find their stability in testing others. Don't forget, it's females' way of testing their mates. It is a natural impulse. But if you look into this world, there are too many ignorants. There are too many people living by impulse. So finding someone else who functions by impulses, in a way, kind of gives the sensation that they're more insecure rather than secure. Because someone who wants to communicate will tell things specifically and will clearly show what they can offer on the plate. When you see people who prefer to be secretive and indirect, I don't know how much you can actually end up trusting those. Because if they can't tell me something simple, right? Something as simple as, a little bit about themselves, no one in like at the beginning when you, let's say, date for the first time, probably no one's gonna ask you intimate things from the first from the first day, unless it's one of those people who just want a quick fuck, and well, most likely they're not gonna know if they're not gonna remember the other one's name, right? They're probably gonna end up discussing some gibberish and probably dropping in here or there some intimate stuff and whatever they call intimate anyways, and that's kind of gonna be it. So in this fast-paced world, trying to act in a way in which you kind of expect others to figure out what you're saying and then feel mad at them that they can't figure out what you're thinking. That's like expecting others to be a mind reader. And I told you about mind reading. If someone would be a mind reader, definitely they won't waste their time with you because they can read anything about you, anything in your mind. So how can you be surprising to them, right? If they get to know everything about you, you're not going to be surprising at all because they already know everything about you. That's the curse that some empaths actually have, because a lot of people feel that they can be read by such sensitive people. I am somewhat sensitive in that case, and I've met people who simply, stood up from the table and left when I looked a bit longer in their eyes. They kind of perceived the fact that I observed their nothingness. A lot of people are just that. They gave up on hope and on their life and on their uniqueness so much that they simply settle down for being nothing and embracing that comfort, that pain, that painful comfort. Because ultimately it has to be very painful, but you also have to be enough numbed to the pain to live such a life. Unfortunately, so many people do it. But, well, in the end, the topic was not about this. Hopefully this video raised a bit of awareness. And, well, this being said, Ferinjan Board signing out.